Chicago Bears, 7 round mock draft. Skip all the dilly dallying and get right into it. Number one overall pick. I know you guys have heard a lot of conversations about this. Bears fans are probably tired of hearing it. Let me make this quick for you. Caleb Williams is the obvious choice. I think it's leaning towards that. But in my mind, if you view these two dudes as close, Justin Fields and Caleb Williams, I just think that rookie contract is just so much more valuable. And so, like I said, if they're even close in your mind, you take Caleb Williams in that rookie contract because you don't want to be in a situation where you hang on to Justin Fields, you miss out on Caleb Williams, and all of a sudden now you're in a situation next year where you're having to give this dude $200 million and you're not feeling very confident about it. I think you need to make high-level throws in the playoffs. You can't just rely on running. We've seen that with Lamar Jackson, why he flames out a lot of years. And I think Lamar Jackson's a way better thrower than Justin Fields, and he still struggles in the playoffs when it comes down to it. So you need someone who can make those elite throws. Caleb Williams, I think, has a better chance of being able to do that. So I'm going Caleb Williams. Number one, I think it's pretty cutthroat and dry. What you got to do, take Caleb Williams, trade Justin Fields. To make this mock draft a little more fun, we're going to go ahead and trade Justin Fields. We're going to put Justin Fields here in our trade machine, and I'm going to go ahead and trade him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's either the Steelers or the Falcons are one of one of those two teams I think is going to make the move. Steelers is kind of that hot team making all the rumors. I think he's now the betting favorite. So we're going to go with the Steelers. I'm going to go with a second and a third as the compensation. I don't think you can get a first for him. Now, with that being said, if a team at the end of the draft, like maybe even like the Steelers, if they offered pick 20 and that came out as the trade, I mean, take that in a heartbeat if you're the Bears. But, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't, like, with all the trades we've seen, I wouldn't be just blown away. I don't think it'll happen, but like I said, wouldn't be shocked. So I think it starts at like an earlier second. I think if you're able to get one of those top like 6 picks in the second round, it's more like a second and a fourth or something like that, just because that can be invaluable. The Steelers are offering up like a mid-second. I think you got to throw in a third, maybe even get more. Who knows what Justin Fields is these days, but we're going to go second and a third here for Justin Fields. We're going to go and get 2 more mid picks. Looking at what the Bears need, I really want to attack safety, wide receiver, and edge, and interior O-line. Those are the 4 biggest needs. I think tackle in the first round is definitely on the board. I think some interior depth down the line and tight end depth are things we're looking at. But those 4 are the main positions I want to look at. The Bears don't have a lot of picks in this draft. Their last pick is in the 5th round. They don't have a lot of late picks. I think they'll be able to flip for some late picks. So I'm not going to do tons of trading, but I wouldn't be surprised if, especially in the middle rounds, the Bears do a lot of trading down and start to accumulate some, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks and be able to fill out some depth that way. But we're not doing that here. But like I said, don't be surprised if you see a lot of Bears trades this offseason, whether it's slight move backs in the draft, maybe trading off some depth players for 7th round picks and stuff. But I expect them to accumulate more picks because they don't have a lot. But I made the case for Caleb Williams. There he goes, pick number 1. Now we're at pick number 9. This would be a prime trade down spot. If you're here at pick 9 and Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze are off the board, this would be prime trade down. Someone is probably going to want to come up and get one of these tackles. The Jets are almost certainly going to get a tackle, so if you want to tackle, come jump the Jets and get him. Or maybe a team like the Bears, or not the Bears, the Broncos or the Vikings fall in love with like J.J. McCarthy, and they want to come jump you. That's a spot. I'm not sure. I don't want to make this mock draft crazy with trade out. So I'm not going to trade this pick, but I think you should try and trade out if you're here. Like I said, accumulate some more of those picks because they don't have a lot of later picks in this draft. So we're going to stick on the board here, though. For me, it's really between 2 players. If the board falls out like this, you're taking Olu Fashanu. I like Braxton Jones, but I'm not passing on Olu Fashanu for him. If you draft Olu Fashanu here, you got him and Darnell Wright at left and right tackle. You got your 2 tackles for like the whole Caleb Williams era. Like you don't got to worry about drafting a tackle, and tackles are so valuable. Good tackles go early in drafts. You're hoping after you do this offseason right, you're never drafting this high, or not never. You're not drafting this high again for a really long time is what you're hoping. So take the tackle while you're here because you can get other positions a little later in the draft that are still valuable, but tackle is one of those positions that goes early. So when you're here, you got to take him. So I'm going to go Olu Fashanu, but Jared Verse would be the other name I'd keep my eye on. Like I said, they need edge rush. They got Montez Sweat, and really that's about it. So you want some help on the other side. So Jared Verse is a name I'd keep an eye on, but I'm going to go Olu Fashanu here. And now we're going to go up in the second round. Usually in the second round, we're looking at receiver, safety, and see what kind of edge falls. Usually this is how the board falls out on this mock draft, where Adisa Isaac's the number 1 edge available, which I like, but not moving the needle for me where we can go elsewhere. And safety, I don't think there's really a safety I'm a huge fan of here. I've gone Kim Kitchens a couple times. I'd rather wait. Maybe Nubin's here, and that wouldn't be a bad pick, I don't think. But some of the depth in this safety class is good. Like Javon Bullard's fallen a lot. Tyke Smith guy. You can get Rabbit Taylor Demerson. I mean, there's even dudes later that I'm a big fan of, like Trey Taylor, or even if you want to just go late. So I'm not going to necessarily push a safety here. Edge rusher is not the greatest value here with what's available. So for me, we're either attacking interior O-line, we're either getting just a stud in the middle with Zach Frazier, which I think would be a great pick, or looking at the receiver market, man, Tez Walker, he's going to fall, man. I mean, if your whole thing is like you're a deep guy and you got good hands and you drop every catch at the Senior Bowl, like it's not looking good. So for me, this pick is between Ricky Pearsall, who had the complete opposite week as Tez Walker at the Shrine Bowl, or Zach Frazier. We went O-line in the first, and honestly, I wouldn't be against a double O-line here. I'm not gonna do double O-line because I think we can get some good interior O-linemen at our next pick. We're like Zach Zinter, Bo Limmers, Cedric Van Pran. You know, you're probably gonna be able to get a solid interior lineman at the next pick. Whereas the receiver market, I've done a lot of these mock drafts. Receiver market can kind of fall off in the second round. So we're gonna get Ricky Pearsall. Like I said, Tez Walker, I would have you do this before the Senior Bowl, and that pick is Tez Walker 10 times out of 9 times. Like, it's just Tez Walker, man. But oof, that Senior Bowl was just so rough that we're gonna stick with Ricky Pearsall, who balled out, and I think he's gonna be a really good player. Now we just want to clicky eye the safety market again. Sione Vaki is just a freak athlete. I mean, he was getting running back snaps at the Senior Bowl. Him or Tyke Smith at safety. If we're looking at edge, I like Austin Booker, but I'm waiting for like Mo Kamara, Xavier Thomas, Murphy guys. I think those are really good depth guys. I just don't think we need to force an edge when there's so many other valuable positions. Cornerback, I love Jarvis Brownlee and Renardo Green. I think those are two outside corners that are going to be very good in the league. But, man, I kind of like their receiver, their cornerback room, man. Like, I assume you're keeping Jalen Johnson. Obviously, this whole thing changes if you don't keep Jalen Johnson. Then that first pick at pick 9, I mean, that could easily be like a Cooper DeJean or like a Terrion Arnold if you don't keep Jalen Johnson. But I'm assuming you're keeping Jalen Johnson. Tyreek Stevenson I was a huge fan of last year. He had some penalty issues, but other than the penalty issues, he had pretty good coverage, man. So he can clean up those penalty issues. He'll be a good starter. Kyler Gordon's a great slot guy. And I was a fan of Terrell Smith, too, as depth. So maybe more depth, but Jarvis Brownlee might actually, I mean, he could be the pick here, man. We're looking at, or we go ahead and just secure our interior linemen. I mean, that's definitely a good option. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's just go ahead and secure our interior O-line. And it's really between Mahogany, more of a guard, or we go center with Cedric Van Pran. I'm going to go center just because, I mean, I don't know who their plan is at center right now. Our Lads has them listed as Lucas Patrick, who's a free agent. So, from all I know, they don't have a center. So, we're going to go ahead and get Cedric Van Pran, who could probably step in day one and be our starting center. So, we'll go ahead and get that. Now we're up at pick 84 again. Kind of the same arguments I just made with whether you want to go for the two corners went, which kind of makes this tough because as much as I love like Jerry Jones and Chris Abrams-Drain, they are more slot guys, and I think Kyler Gordon, I mean, I got no issues with Kyler Gordon in the slot, so Kyrie Jackson would be the next kind of outside guy I'd be really interested in, but not really here. Tight end, you could take a guy like Cade Stover, but I'm a guy that I'd rather wait and take Dallin Holker. So we could look at edge. We got our I mean, you could still use another receiver, man. Right now the receiving room is DJ Moore. I'm assuming that they go ahead and let Mooney walk, but I mean, because if they let Mooney walk, other than that, you left Tyler Scott and Velus Jones are like the only other receivers on their roster. So like you need a lot of receivers, and I mean, I'd way rather just draft a guy like Malachi Corley here than re-sign Darnell Mooney. So that could be an option. Or we just go ahead and secure up our safety, which I think is what I'm just going to go ahead and do and take Tyke Smith. I mean, Georgia DBs, I mean, those dudes know how to play. The Georgia's very good defense. Their DBs are really smart coming out and usually good players. So we're going to go ahead and take a Georgia safety, Tyke Smith, really good player. He's a little bit smaller, but just a hell of a player. Go ahead and replace Eddie Jackson, who just got cut. So we'll see where Eddie Jackson goes. But we're going there. Now we're back up on the board. This is where I want to attack edge rusher. I'm going to take one of my guys in this class, Mo Kamara. You're probably looking at him and be like, damn, PFF's going to give me like a D or an F for that draft pick. But, man, Mo Kamara, trust me, listen to me right now. Mo Kamara is going to be one of the biggest risers from now until the time the draft happens. I mean, this dude, when teams start going back and actually really looking at Mo Kamara, I mean, teams probably know by now. But when media starts going back, looking at Mo Kamara, watching the Shrine Bowl stuff, seeing what he does at the Combine and the Pro Day and all this stuff, and once it finally gets to draft time, he's gonna be like a fringe day 2 pick. I mean, Mo Kamara is one of the, I don't know how he's so underrated. I don't think he is like the athleticism that he's gonna be like a top 50 guy, but I mean, like his production at Colorado was nuts, man. And dude knows how to play football. He wins in every way. I heard Brett Coleman was talking about, he did interviews with him, and like he was saying he's one of the smartest guys out there, and he just knows all the techniques and how to play. And man, trust me, you might think right now Mo Kamara is not a great pick at that spot, but trust me, that's going to be a steal when it really comes down to it. But moving on, back up to pick 123. Still, like I said, edge is kind of like receiver. I mean, just take more and more edge rushers, but I'm probably not going to go that way. We're probably looking at either receiver or tight end here. One of the Washington guys, huge fan of Malik Washington. I mean, this dude, you look at some of the stats on Malik Washington, you're like, why isn't this dude like a top 50 guy? And they're like, oh, it's because he's, 5'10"? He's definitely not. He's not even 5'10". He's 5'8". But his stats would be like a top 50 dude. But he's 5'8", 190, so he's smaller. But like, man, hell of a football player. Man, I wouldn't be against him. Or we go ahead and take a tight end. Cade Stover is the top dude available. My next guy would be Dallin Holker. I think he's going to rise. I don't know if I can take back-to-back Colorado State guys, though. That's a bit of an iffy one. So we're probably not going to take Dallin Holker. But looking at, just quickly digging in the corner. And one thing I'm not a huge fan of this PFF mock draft, I was trying to do another one, but the trades aren't really good on the other ones, and PFF's still the best, but they don't have a lot of depth guys in this class. Like, there's a lot of guys like Quantez Stiggers. He's a CFL dude who I really like. Jarius Monroe from Tulane. Jaquan Shepard from Maryland. There's a lot of these like late round DBs that I really liked at the Shrine Bowl that I would like to throw in these mock drafts, but they're just not even on the PFF mock draft. So these guys would change coming down, but they're just not even available on here. So we'll wait for them to be available. But with this pick, after kind of looking at everything, I'm going to go Malik Washington. Like I said, you just need a lot of depth at receiver. Give Caleb Williams all the receivers. Now, you could make the argument that you take Taj Washington because I view him very close to Malik Washington, and Taj did play with Caleb Williams, if that means anything to them. So you could definitely go that direction, but I'm just personally not. But I could definitely see that. Now we're back up. Pick 143. We got Grayson Murphy's a guy that I was looking at. Jalen Harrell had a good week at the Senior Bowl. I could see him. Khalid Duke is an explosive athlete. Khalid Duke's going to be another big riser after the Combine. I mean, this dude is explosive. So he's a guy I'm looking for. If you don't know about Khalid Duke, go check out my Shrine Bowl Athletes video. He was on there. Talked about him and how freaky he is because he's a dude that's going to rise in the Combine. Looking at what's available, I'm going to go tight end here. And you know what? I said I'm not going to take back-to-back Colorado State, so we're going to sandwich the Colorado State dudes in. Take Dallin Holker. He's becoming one of my guys in this draft. I think they could use some depth after Cole Kmet. Their other two tight ends are both free agents. Mercedes Lewis and Tunyon, I believe, are the other two. They're both free agents, so it's really just Cole Kmet. And Cole Kmet's coming up to contract time. Did Cole Kmet get an extension? I don't remember if Cole Kmet got his extension or not yet, but you need depth for sure. So Dallin Holker's at minimum depth, and at best, I mean, Dallin Holker could be better than Cole Kmet. He's not better right now, but he could be better than Cole Kmet down the road. So that's one thing you're looking at. This is the mock draft. You know what? They weren't actually as harsh on my Mo Kamara pick. I'm proud of you, PFF, but they were harsh on Cedric Van Perrin, which I don't think makes sense. I think Cedric Van Perrin's like a fringe day 2, early day 3 kind of guy, and like we need interior line. So I'm still happy with that pick. We're really digging from that Georgia, Colorado State well. You know, like every year, it's always Colorado State dudes in every draft, you know. So many of them. But, yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this. I know the whole discussions around Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, but I want to give a 7-round mock draft, show you some of the later dudes, because everyone talks about Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, but no one talks about Malik. No, yeah, everyone asks, is it Caleb or is it Justin? But no one's asking, is it Malik Washington or Taj Washington? Those are the questions we ask on this channel. Anyways, I'll see you guys for the next video. I got a combine video coming out later this week, and I'm gonna try and churn through more 7-round mock drafts, go through some of the different teams, kind of maybe just wake my way through the draft order. Bears were just first up, and like I said, this can change with free agency too. Like there's a lot of holes that I kind of needed to hit in this draft, whereas you hope they fill those holes in free agency and then draft more just based on value. But we don't know free agency yet, so I'll probably maybe do another one after free agency. If this video does well, I'll do another one after free agency and see how it changes. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.